So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very interesting video because you're getting two sides of the same coin, right? Like, the Nintendo Switch 2 can bring excitement and joy in the future, although it's uncertain, is still very exciting. But some of the stuff we already have right now is really starting to piss me off. So we're going to talk about, some game keycard stuff and what goes into that. But also, we have a very promising leak about a Switch 2 OLED going in development later this year. And I think I have actual evidence of the console. So let's go and get right into this video. Yeah, it's weird being not just a Nintendo fan right now, but a gaming fan in general, because it's almost like being a masochist. It's like, this is something I like doing that is really starting to piss me off and anger me over and over. Why do I keep doing this? But, it is what it is, right? So we're going to talk about some new games that just got announced for the Switch 2 that are just making 0 cents. And then we also have, I guess, a look into the actual prices of game key cards and all the cartridges and all the cartridges available. And then on top of that, we have direct evidence of a Switch 2 OLED. Pretty cool stuff. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Probably like 50 subscribers away from 33,000. Also, follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep these communities growing. And let's just go and get right into this one. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2. So I believe today, which is July 13th, the day I'm recording this, there was some kind of live stream for the anniversary of these games, or maybe the first game or something, I'm not really sure. But from that live stream, they announced that Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2 are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Technically, like, they're coming in October, I believe, but in Japan they launched today, but maybe only digitally. There's going to be a physical version that has both games together. It's going to be a game key card, and I'm seeing a price right now as $75. So I don't know if that's the price for both games together, or you can only buy them together. I don't know if you can buy them individually. I know you can on the eShop. So a couple things to take away from this. Do these need Switch 2 editions? Honestly, this could be unpopular. I don't think so at all. I think they're just fine on the Switch 2 as is. But if you want them to have improved resolutions and a better frame rate, then go and buy the Switch 2 edition. Now you would say, well, I already own these on the Switch, so I'll just pay for an upgrade path. No, you won't, dumbass, because this is Square Enix, and they just don't offer that. There's no save data transfer, there's no upgrade path, and these are going to be game key cards. Why? What are we doing here? Square Enix makes 0 cents as a company, because Final Fantasy Tactics, The Ivalice Chronicles, and Dragon Quest III, both of these games got free Switch 2 upgrades. You didn't even have to pay for them. The option was there to get a free Switch 2 upgrade. But every other release on the Switch 2, past, present, and future, not only can you not get a free upgrade, you can't even get a paid upgrade. There's just no upgrade path entirely. So this really just angers me. It's straight up greed, you know what I mean? Like, me personally, I think if you've never played these games and you want to get them, go buy the Switch versions because they're fully on the cartridge. Now, let me play devil's advocate and feel like, just a stupid asshole for a minute. Let me say I'm Square Enix's head of, I don't even know what it would be, head of like budgeting or whatever, and we need to save some money and we need to do this the most fiscal way possible. How much is it for a cartridge and how much is it for a game key card? How much money are we saving here? Now, these are the figures that are going viral today, so I don't know how true they are, so take this with a grain of salt. We'll just play it how it goes, right? These are the prices to publish physical formats on the Switch 2. A 16 gigabyte cartridge is $13, 32 gigabyte cartridge, $15, 64 gigabyte cartridge, $17. Most of Square Enix games are 32 gigabytes or less, right? So let's just say $15 max. Game key cards downloads for under 5 gigabytes, $10. Game key card download for 6 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes, $12. Game key card downloads for over 16 gigabytes, $14. So, I'm not the smartest person here. I get that. I probably say a lot of dumb shit in my videos. I probably get roasted for it. That's cool. That's the way it goes. But if my math is correct, right? Let me do my calculations. Okay, we're gonna subtract this, add that, carry that. I think Square Enix, in theory, is saving $1. Is it really worth saving $1 on a cartridge to sell a game key card instead of a full game on the cartridge? I guess if you sell 200,000 copies of a game, you're saving $200,000. But if you were to sell it on cartridge, you would probably get 300,000 additional sales or something. So then you would make money there. And I get it. It's an old saying, like save $1 here and there and that adds up. Or maybe I just made that up. Who the hell knows? But this makes zero sense to me. Logically, illogically, it just makes no sense to me. I know that at the beginning there was not a lot of options. You either got like a 64 gigabyte cartridge or nothing, I believe, right? But there is other options now. And this isn't some indie company. This is Square Enix, bro. Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Octopath Traveler. This is them. This is the Square Enix that has billions and billions of dollars. What are we doing, man? I'm not even somebody who really gets into all this because at the end of the day, I just want to play the games. I just want to mind my business. I just want to enjoy my life while I can. But it's starting to become almost offensive, right? So, will I be picking up Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 for the Switch 2? No, I won't. I just won't do it. It makes zero sense to me, especially when I can go find both of those games used for the Switch right now for like $30 or less. You know what I mean? I can probably even find new copies for that price, and they're going to play and look just fine on the Switch too. Not only it being a game key card, but the fact that there's no upgrade path. Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm good on that. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? What's funny is I made a video, I want to say last week, about my theory about a Switch 2 Lite. And I said in that video, I think we'll get a Switch 2 Lite before a Switch 2 OLED, strictly because of the price. The Switch 2 is $500. If they could make a $350 console, God forbid it has to be all digital, but at least there's an option for a cheaper entry into this generation. That would be pretty cool. I always expected the Switch 2 Lite would come before the Switch 2 OLED, but that doesn't seem like it's the case. Now, I've made a video twice about this because I feel like I'm the only person who remembered some of these leaks 8 months before the Switch 2 was even revealed, right? There was this Chinese YouTuber, and if I can find the video, it's going to be so hard to, but if I can find it, I'll put it on the screen, and she was showing off a Switch 2 model exactly from the factory, like she had all the information, and when the Switch 2 came out, it was 100% accurate. The only difference was it was a white Switch 2, and Nintendo's kind of goofy with the way they release stuff and market it. I feel like going forward, any handheld they release, it's going to be a white model for the OLED. So let's break down this new leak, which is just directly from, like, I guess the suppliers or whatever, and then I'll show you proof of that white Switch 2 OLED. Samsung Display strives to supply OLED panels for Nintendo Switch 2, but Nintendo is striving to lower manufacturing costs due to component price surge. On the 13th, Industry Insider A stated, Nintendo is considering releasing a Switch 2 OLED with a resolution upgrade from HD of the Switch 1 OLED model to FHD, which goes from 1280 and 720 to 1920 and 1080. Adding, if the release of the Switch 2 OLED model is decided, there's a possibility that the product development will begin at the end of this year. If development starts at the end of this year, mass production can be expected as early as the end of 2027 or the beginning of 2028. So I would expect this to probably launch 2028, you know what I mean? Probably 2028, but maybe the end of 2027. Another official, B, stated, Nintendo is considering applying rigid OLED to the Switch 2, but has not yet confirmed the release of the Switch 2 OLED due to the price difference compared to liquid crystal display. Industry official C explained, Samsung Display will strive to supply Switch 2 OLED. The extent of the price increase for the Switch 2 resulting from the application of OLED is a variable. As excited as I am about this, if the Switch is going to be $500, the Switch 2 OLED would honestly be like $650, and then at that point you're getting closer to the PC handheld prices, and it's like, well, do I just get one of those instead? You know what I mean? So we can sit here and speculate about, you know, what the Switch 2 OLED would look like, how great it would be. I think actually in my video when I was talking about the dock having VRR support, I think I might have even mentioned they might save that dock for when we get the Switch 2 OLED, because let's say the console, you know, the Switch 2 OLED is 650 bucks. You're like, damn, 650 bucks opposed to 500. But then they're like, well, the dock also has VRR support. And you're like, well, you know, that kind of balances it out a little bit. So 650, it is what it is. That's something they could do to entice you a little bit more for the price and also include a game. Then it's like, okay, you know, I'm not happy about the price, but it's starting to make a little bit more sense. But I think honestly, Nintendo's been working on this for a while now. So I'll show you proof of those actual Switch 2 models that are white. And it's not like they would paint this white and then paint it black. I remember seeing pictures of white Switch 2s, or maybe it was the Joy-Cons, black Switch 2 Joy-Cons and white Switch 2 Joy-Cons. And we've seen those 0%, right? So let me show you some pictures of the actual white Switch 2 model. So this is obviously the inside of like the actual console, right? This is where the battery and everything else goes. And you can see it's 100% white. It looks exactly like the white for a Switch OLED. Like I have a Switch OLED here, but it's not the white model, but that's the exact white color. And then again, you can see on the side that it is white. Like it's a straight up white Switch too. It's hard for me to actually remember, but when we went from the Switch to the Switch OLED, the screen got like an inch bigger maybe, or half an inch or something. Like it was noticeable, and then they removed the bezels or made them smaller. So the screen looked bigger. With the Nintendo Switch 2 already being 8 inches, you don't make the screen bigger. You just make the screen better, right? So this is very interesting that this is all happening, because we know there was another leak last week as well about somebody else and Nintendo working together. Like they had Sharp, who supplies the LCDs, and then another company is trying to supply them, and it's going to be an LCD that's a little bit better. So Nintendo really is trying to find a way to just improve the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think they should just leave the LCD as it is. Like, yes, it's not the best, but it does the job. If they're going to spend millions and millions of dollars in research and development and trying to get another model out there that's enticing, you just need to do the OLED or the Switch 2 Lite. You know what I mean? Hell, imagine the Switch 2 Lite has an OLED screen. That would be insane. They make a $400 Switch 2 Lite OLED, and yeah, that would be incredible. That would be like that middle ground right now, because they know manufacturing is so damn expensive, but obviously they want you to buy more Switch 2s and have other options. A Switch 2 Lite OLED. I'm just saying, it could work. But honestly, I think it's going to be for the main console. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Do you think we need a Switch 2 OLED? Do you think we need a Switch 2 Lite? Do you think 650 bucks for a Switch 2 OLED is fair? If it included a game and the dock had VRR support, like how do we make it make sense right now when nothing makes sense and everything is getting more expensive? I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on all this. And if you made it to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter on the way out, and consider becoming a channel member, as that is the ultimate way to support. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.